These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Reckless speculation.
Reckless speculation.
Yes, happy Reckless Speculation Thursday to all who celebrate. It's a glorious day and a safe space. Okay? Safe space for you, Judd. If you got any other like Kirk to the Commanders things you want to throw out here, we're good today.
Oh, yeah.
But we bring in our friend Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. Scoop session and Reckless Speculation session commence, Doogs.
Hello. Hi, gentlemen. Happy Reckless Speculation Thursday.
Yes. LFG, as they say.
Best day of the week. Best day of the week.
Yeah, we've had a lot of recklessly speculative Purple Daily episodes the last couple weeks. But let's start Vikings. We'll get to some Wolves stuff here. You have yet another update from a bookmaker or two on Kirk Cousins' most likely landing spots in free agency. So we might as well start there.
Well, let's do it. I mean, even Jeremy Fowler, somebody we all know, now at ESPN, formerly of the St. Paul Pioneer Press.
Yep.
He had a story on ESPN.com earlier this week, Insider, right? So you have to pay to read the story. But the story, had some unnamed executives opining about what could potentially take place come March. And was there a consensus? I know at least one said, hey, Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if it was like across the board, how many executives were polled. I just saw the headline, heard somebody talking about it elsewhere. But anyway, right, it's a lifestyle. Recklessly speculating is what we do. So here we go. Bookies.com odds maker Adam Thompson has developed hypothetical. So you cannot bet on these. But he has developed hypothetical odds as to where Kirk Cousins will take his snaps in 2024. Las Vegas Raiders, plus 400. Atlanta Falcons, plus 425. So a reminder, what that means is you bet $100, you can win $450. Or you bet $100, you get back $550, right? If he ends up with
Raiders,
some team that's plus 450. In this case, Raiders plus 400. You bet $100, you get back $500. That's the way it works. New England Patriots plus 500. So the Raiders, Falcons, Patriots above the Vikings. The Vikings plus 600.
Really?
After the Vikings. Judd, you ready for this? The Washington Commanders plus 750. Pittsburgh Steelers plus 950. Denver Broncos plus 1,200. Seattle Seahawks plus 1,400. The Field plus 650. So the Field actually comes in after the Vikings, before the Commanders, if you're thinking perhaps the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, this is outstanding. Okay, let's talk about a team that I have largely dismissed because of their location and the Cousins' lifestyle, but perhaps I'm wrong. The Raiders. Now, could we see, just starting off with, could we see a replay of 2018 when Kirk Cousins showed up for the Super Bowl week here and quietly was given a tour of the metro area, driven around. This could be all yours. It's a great community.
He was in line at Shake Shack at the Super Bowl
Well,
radio.
I think we can be here, Julie. I think this is it.
Yeah.
The Shake Shack. This is it.
Exactly. Well, they had a great Shake Shack, and he saw the houses around here and where the kids would play. And I'm just saying, could we see the seeds planted for a potential move? Because I have dismissed the Raiders based solely on location.
Why though? I think. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
You wouldn't. I think people think of Vegas. You think, oh, he's not going to live. Is he live on the Strip and that?
Yeah,
crazy?
exactly.
No, he'd go live in Henderson or somewhere.
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying my bias up until now has been I don't think he would want to be there. But am I wrong? Is this because it certainly is a plausible fit, you guys? Football-wise?
Who will be the Raiders' offensive coordinator? You think about the weapons there, though. Enticing. I see a report the Raiders will interview former Bears OC Luke Getsy. Well, he comes from Green Bay prior to Chicago. Green Bay, Matt LaFleur. We think about the LaFleur Kirk Cousins connection.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Devontae has said in the last week or so, among quarterbacks he would like to play with, talking about, hypotheticals again, recklessly speculating who might be throwing
I missed
the football.
that.
Okay.
So you went on the record saying Kirk Cousins, huh?
Here's the
Take it
quote.
over,
Here's
Phil.
the quote.
Reckless speculation.
Devontae
Maybe
Adams
that drove these odds.
He was It could have appearing on the inaugural 2 G's in a Pod podcast. That's a pretty good name for a podcast. 2 G's in a pod. You know what? I'll say this. It's a couple of quarterbacks I really like out there, said Devontae Adams. It depends on what you're saying. If you're talking about a dude that can just find somebody, I mean, I like Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a really good quarterback. As far as availability, I think Kirk's a good player. Adams added that Jordan Love looking real good right now in Green Bay, and C.J. Stroud may be number one. But in terms of quarterbacks that specifically would be available to play with, he singled out Kirk Cousins on the 2 G's in a Pod podcast.
Where are they at in terms of cap space? I mean, we did our 30-second pre-show back and forth. Hey, what should we talk about? So it's not like I did a deep dive on where the Raiders stand heading into March.
I
do wonder about the landscape of
$31 million in effective cap space right now.
So I mean, they can get there if they need to. If structure / money, which I believe more so structure, the guaranteed part, the Raiders could certainly get there if they choose to go after Kirk Cousins. I do have questions about the landscape of that division, that conference. How much does he prioritize winning? Now with Jim Harbaugh coaching the Chargers, the Chiefs aren't slowing down. Does Denver take another step forward next year with Sean Payton? So perhaps the most competitive division in football, you could at least make a case for that looking at 2024. But if they were willing to get there money-wise, they hired the right OC, those weapons. I mean, you've got multiple wide receivers. You've got guys, right? I mean, the Raiders aren't that far away if they can hit on a quarterback. You could sell me. Like, I can't get there. I still can't get there 2 days later, Judd, on Washington. I could maybe get there on Vegas. I would still put Atlanta above Vegas, but you could sell me on Vegas, that idea.
I feel like you're closing your mind, Darren.
Maybe.
I feel like you have to. It's a reckless speculation.
I'm not dismissing that possibility.
It's a lifestyle.
Come on, Darren.
It's like yacht rock, and yet the Michael McDonald catalog is not for you. You got to live a lifestyle, baby.
No. Michael McDonald is for me.
Right, but I'm saying you got to open your mind to the possibilities here.
Quit talking like that about Michael McDonald. Okay,
I'm trying to make an example of how great Michael McDonald is.
But is it fair to say, and this is just, like you said, these are just, and believe me, these are hypothetical odds here. If you're Kirk and right now, there's no way that Kirk and the Vikings are close because he's not going on that media tour last week like we talked about and saying, a lot of things are up in the air right now and we'll have to see what happens in March. Like you only say that if you're a wide gap apart with the Vikings. At this point, he's looking at the calendar saying, his agent too, right? Now we got 5 or 6 weeks until the league year opens up. The combine's in a month. There's no reason not to go and see what the Raiders have to say, what the Falcons have to say, right? So I guess my question to you is there any chance the Vikings and Kirk get a deal done in the next 5 weeks that's team friendly? I mean, he's going to hit the market at this point, right?
Well, I mean, could a deal get done like on March 10th, March 11th?
Right.
Sure, I'm not dismissing that idea, but like a deal getting done on February 25th, that would really, really surprise me, Phil. It really would. Now, hey, some chatter will start to pick up when everybody is down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl in about a week or so, right? So it's not necessarily always just the combine. I mean, it's the Senior Bowl, Mobile, over the next 7 to 10 days, right? So there may be some chatter down there. It'll certainly pick up steam end of February into early March at the combine in Indianapolis. But I guess I would be surprised if we have news of an agreement in the next, say, 4 weeks.
I'd be absolutely shocked. And I think ordinarily how this works, by my experience, is that in Mobile, they might meet, but they sort of agree to meet there as far as, okay, let's set this thing up. And it feels like talks start in earnest at the combine. Because
Yes.
I think what we're going to see here is that the Cousins camp is certainly aware of the fact that he has to have a deal or not with the Vikings by the time free agency opens, because that dead cap hit is not going to go on top of what he's going to get. But I think where this would make sense is The combine, and I know you guys are going to be shocked by this, but I'm going to break some news here. The combine allows teams to tamper. And so Kirk's going to have offers on the table. Like Kirk's going to get offers, which he probably cannot get right now. Like you can only push that thing so far. So like if the Falcons want him, if the Raiders want him, I think those offers are going to come at the combine. And now the Vikings know the price of poker. And I think that's when they say yay or nay. And if they say nay, he's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, the way it works is, so his representation, longtime representation, Mike McCartney. Mike McCartney works for Vayner Sports, a big agency. There are multiple agents, right? So you're allowed to meet, like Mike can meet with the Vikings, right? Because Kirk is still under contractual control until, the league year starts, until free agency starts.
correct.
So Mike is allowed by rule to sit down with the Vikings, but Mike has clients on other teams. So he's going to the suites of those teams at the combine in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. Inevitably, other stuff comes up. It may not just be, hey, client X who plays for the Atlanta Falcons, right? The conversation turns. That's the way it works. And it may not even be Mike. It may be somebody else with Vayner. That's just the way it works. So, yes, I know it was breaking news, maybe to some, Judd, but that's just the way it works at the combine. It has for a really long time. That's why the NFL needs to move up free agency. There's no reason to wait all the way until March 13th.
Okay, here's a question for you, Dukes. I just want your opinion on this. So I'm on the PFF top 150 free agents list. Kirk is their number 2 overall free agent. His projected contract is 2 years, $60 million. I think that's light.
I think it's light, too.
That's my
the
first
Vikings
question. Do you think that's
deal.
light? Yeah, that feels light.
I think the Vikings do that.
We'll see. Because
now,
so many
fully
variables.
guaranteed $60 million?
37.5 guaranteed, which also feels light to me.
So 37.5 of $60 million guaranteed? I mean, I'm just telling you, the Vikings do that deal.
I think they do too.
I think it's light, though. Yeah.
You're telling me if 5 teams, let's say it's 3 teams. Let's say Falcons, Raiders, Vikings, or I know they're further down on the hypothetical odds, but like Steelers and Broncos. George Payton is still running the Broncos front office, right? Like he was part of the Vikings front office when they brought in Kirk. But here's my question. Let's say it's 2 years and more like 35 to 40 million a year, largely guaranteed to lock in Kirk. So it's 2 years, let's call it 38 million a year. Would you rather do that? Or would you rather bring in, let's say, Ryan Tannehill, who's the exact same age? I'm not saying he's as good. He's the exact same age, though. For the projection on PFF is 2 years, $11 million total. So $5.5 million a year. Would you rather have Kirk at 35 or 40 for 2 years, or Tannehill for 5.5 or $6 million?
Well, I mean, I would take Tannehill. I would, but I'm not sure the Vikings agree with that. But if you're asking me my opinion, yes, give me the savings. I'm willing to go quarterback at pick 11, while in the meantime, bridge guy is Ryan Tannehill. Or you name another potential option. I don't think Baker Mayfield will be a legit option. Like I think he's back in Tampa, but there's some other guys that are free agents. I don't have the full list in front of me, Phil, but maybe it's somebody else. But you could sell me on that idea. Bridge quarterback, Tannehill, or somebody else to save the money than going quarterback at pick 11.
Dukes,
or even moving up, right? I mean, if they can move up, move up.
Dukes, what's your expectation, or what do you think the realistic market from a term and financial standpoint for Kirk is? Because I'm with you guys. I think that projection is way low. I think
it's a great question, Judd.
The guaranteed is really low. I think he's going to want almost all, if not the entire contract, because they've set that precedent, and it doesn't feel to me like Kirk's going to backtrack on precedent because of McCartney, who has done a great job. The man belongs in Canton.
Agree. Yeah, phenomenal job. I mean, does any team go to 3 years? 2 years fully guaranteed, portion of year 3 guaranteed? Or would a team go as high as 3 years fully guaranteed? I don't think that would be the Vikings.
So. Yeah.
I don't think
do the Vikings even get to 2 years fully guaranteed? Like I said, I think maybe the Vikings could get there. I don't know if they're there right this second, but if it came down to it, they could perhaps get there. But I'm not even 100% sold on that. I think some other team would go to 2 years fully guaranteed. I wonder, would anybody go to 3 years?
I don't think fully guaranteed, but I think that they would go. I think they would go partial guarantee. I think they
Probably,
would go fully
right?
guaranteed.
Yeah, not
for
fully,
2.
right? Yeah, probably not fully.
And what's the debate here? So the debate is this, or the cases are this. The Vikings and teams that negotiate with McCartney on Kirk's behalf are going to say, your guy is going to be 36 in August, and he's coming off an Achilles tear, and there's concerns there. I think the Kirk camp is going to come back and say he's a pocket passer. Yes, he has to move, but he doesn't run much. And furthermore, his statistics in 2023, he was having a great year, and they're going to use that. So I wonder what that conversation's like, because, and this is going to sound stupid, but I could see it. I could see them saying, hey, look, the Vikings gave this guy, yes, he was younger, but a fully guaranteed 3-year contract in 2018. And we would argue he's a better quarterback now. That's what the Cousins camp could say.
That's surely what the Cousins camp will put out there. They will also, come up with some video evidence of how Kirk is doing in his rehab, as in Kirk is going to start sprinting in the very near future. So by the time, free agency starts or combine, the tampering, whatever, there is going to be video evidence of the progress that Kirk has made. But yes, it's all about, hey, he is a pocket passer. An Achilles tear is not any sort of death sentence for your football career. You can easily come back. That, hey, look at the numbers he's put up the last couple years, that he will be okay for his ages 36, 37, even beyond ages 36, 37, and even perhaps age 38 seasons.
Just to have Judd and Dex answer the question too, just for fun here. Kirk at $38 million a year, largely guaranteed for 2 years, or Ryan Tannehill for $5.5 or $6 million a year on a 2-year deal?
Tannehill, because you can build out the rest of your roster. You can fill out what you want to do.
You could also draft a quarterback completely guilt-free without worrying. Like he would,
does that seem low on Tannehill, by the way?
Oh yeah, I do personally think
maybe
it's low, but
he was really bad last year.
I know
he was bad last year, but I would take Tannehill, take the savings, take the development, go from there. You're just kicking a can down the road. I think with the same thing with the Kirk deal.
Yeah, I agree completely, because it's not the quarterback that is probably going to start opening day 2024. It's the fact that you're now going to draft one. And so that to me is the absolute key. In fact, you know what? I might be, if it worked out, willing to go the Gardner Minshew route.
So his projected contract is also 2 years at just $9 million a year.
But I mean, he's willing to be a backup, but he can start. He's not a train wreck. And again, I want to do whatever is going to allow my young QB to develop as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I think I would do
go
Minshew over Tannehill.
Yeah, I mean he's in his prime. He's 28 years old. So I guess I could even just replace the names and say there's 3 or 4 dudes. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is a free agent. There's 3 or 4 dudes that you're going to be able to get.
But they had some trade interest in, although they kicked the tires
a
on a bunch of guys in late October. But that was one, Brissett in Washington.
Yeah. So just, something to keep an eye on here over the next. It's a lot of Vikings fans paint this doom and gloom scenario that it's either Kirk or an unqualified 5th-round rookie, or it's Kirk or Josh Dobbs having no practice time. No. It would be Kirk or a relevant bridge quarterback that's been a decent starter. I mean, hell, the Colts won a bunch of games with Gardner Minshew. Not because Minshew is better than Kirk, but because their roster was better and healthier, and Minshew was capable. So
plus the hope that with a high draft pick, whether it's with their first pick or second pick or maneuvering back into the first round or maneuvering up from 11 or going quarterback at 11, that there would be hope with a young guy, right? So you have the bridge guy, but then there's hope with the young guy. Now, here's some doom and gloom, something to think about. I checked this week on TJ Hawkinson. So we always knew it would be a few weeks, multiple knee ligaments torn.
Yeah.
I texted one person who said, when I asked, hey, did he undergo surgery yet? We always knew it would be like mid to late January, maybe even into early February. This one person said, not to my knowledge. So we are perhaps still awaiting word on successful surgery for TJ Hawkinson. But let's just say he even underwent surgery yesterday, or it's, later this week or next week. I just don't know how he's back by week 1. Like, when is he back? Is he even back in September? Right?
Super
ACL,
interesting.
MCL. And hey, we always knew, like, this isn't a shock. Like, he wasn't going to undergo immediate surgery. I guess maybe, allowing the swelling to go down, whatever reason, right? When it's multiple ligaments, that it wasn't going to be immediate. So it was always going to be like mid to late January. But as we sit here on January 25th, I guess me personally, I'm still awaiting word that he's undergone said surgery.
I'll be shocked if he's back for week 1.
Yeah, I don't see week 1. Yeah,
and I saw immediate when this all transpired after the loss to Detroit here. I saw immediate. Well, Adrian Peterson came. Okay, he was a freak. I mean, you cannot compare the recovery of a guy who was a physical freak to a big tight end. So yeah, I think he misses at least the first month. And here's my concern: what does he look like in the year after? Because that's not a simple thing to come back from, too. Again,
not
Peterson
when it's multiple. Yeah,
is the outlier. He is not the norm. So, like, I guess my bigger question is: let's say he comes back October 14th or something like that. How long does the ramp up then take for him to become TJ Hawkinson again? That's my worry.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. Let's go back into the scoop bag here for the last 5 or 10 minutes after we shout out our friends at AG1. So yeah, 6-7 years ago, I've been telling you guys for a few weeks, especially over on Purple Daily, that I discovered AG1 products, and they have been great for me. It's like nutritional insurance to either start your day or give yourself a boost in the middle of the day. It's one scoop mixed with a bottle of water. You got your full allotment of nutrients, 75 high-quality ingredients and important nutrients. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, immune support. Had a listener just a few days ago send me pictures of his first pack of AG1. I'm into the travel packs these days. They're easy to throw in your backpack if you're on a flight somewhere, whatever it may be. But if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/MNsports. That's drinkag1.com/MNsports and check it out. Also, our friends at Zero Res are here to deep clean your disgusting carpet and air ducts, folks, so you can breathe in fresh air again in your home. So Zero Res has a 4.9 out of 5-star rating on Google with 17,000 reviews. If you ask for the Score North special, you get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119. And this month, take $75 off when you get those air ducts Zero Res clean. Again, ask for the Score North special at 952-0-RES or ZeroResMinnesota.com. Spell it forward or backwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Reckless speculation.
If you have remaining Vikings things, Doogie, feel free to throw them out there. Otherwise, Chris Finch did a little 180 last night. He called the loss to the Hornets disgusting and immature, and then slept on it and felt bad.
Well,
he was right. I know they're worried about offending Cat, I think, and so they came back. It was kind of sloppy last night, but they win the game. But before the game, Chris Finch was like, I should have given Cat credit in the post game. So I don't know. We got trade deadline coming up in less than 2 weeks. Wolves offense is still. I mean, Anthony Edwards had to shoot 28 times last night. It was Ant and Cat and nobody else basically scoring. So where are we at with this Wolves team?
Yeah, I mean, I thought in the first half they missed some relatively easy looks. So, I mean, it could have been a little bit more lopsided in the first half. But, I mean, Washington is a dumpster fire. They made a coaching change this morning, one of the 3 or 4 bottom-feeding teams
we got a guy
in
fired.
the league. But, hey, Charlotte, not that good, right? And we saw what took place on Monday. So, good bounce back last night. Hey, a rare back-to-back for the Wolves in Brooklyn tonight. Brooklyn did not play last night, so Brooklyn has the schedule advantage. So I'll be curious to see how tonight goes. The Wolves no longer in first place in the Western Conference. OKC, because of tiebreakers, in first. But you look at the standings right now, Phil. I mean, 2 games separate the top 4. A half game separates the top 3. Then you think about Phoenix, New Orleans after the top 4. I mean, top 6 separated by 5 games, 6 games, if you want to go as deep as 7 teams in the West. But the Wolves still have a very favorable schedule the rest of the way. After tonight, the Wolves will have played 3 more road games than home games. We're about a month away from the Wolves having a 7-game homestand. So I still believe, because of the favorable schedule the rest of the way, even with some more back-to-backs like tonight, that the Wolves absolutely can finish top 4. Then to me, it comes down to matchups. First round of the playoffs. Who do they match up against? But they will continue to make calls. Yeah, the trade deadline 2 weeks from today. Monty Morris, Detroit Pistons guard, who Tim Connolly had in Denver. The Wolves tried to acquire him last summer. They will try again this time around. He looked pretty good. Season debut last night looked pretty good.
He's back.
So just another name to keep an eye on. I'm not saying it's him or bust, but we're thinking about the possibility of adding, and the Wolves realize the window is open. You need to add. I will be very, very surprised if they don't do something. Now, I've laid out the last couple sessions with you guys how the Wolves are in an advantageous position with the buyout market. But hey, like a guy like Kyle Lowry, you can debate if Kyle Lowry would help the Wolves. I'm not sure he would choose here anyway. Like hometown Philadelphia, can acquire him. But there are certain teams above the first apron that can't sign a guy like Kyle Lowry when he's bought out. I just have a hard time believing Charlotte will find a trade partner for Lowry. So I think at some point here in the next 3 weeks, the Hornets buy Lowry out. He hits the open market. Well, teams like the Phoenix Suns can't sign Kyle Lowry. So whether it's somebody in the buyout market or a trade for a Monty Morris or somebody else, I fully expect in the next 2 weeks for the Wolves to do something.
Dukes, I'd like to combine your years of reporting skill and the fact that we do call this the scoop with reckless speculation with your spidey senses. Okay, so here's my question for you. The Charlotte debacle, Mike Conley missed, and the telecast said it was because of a hamstring, a sore hamstring. They tried to downplay it, but they gave a reason. Last night he was sick. He has played an incredible amount of basketball for a guy his age, and he has missed time during the course of his career. All of those things are no indictment. It's just the facts. Do we need to be concerned now about that this is sort of the start of a cycle where he is just going to need more rest? Because that's the one thing I've been going back to is, these guys rest for a reason in some cases. And like Mike Conley works his ass off. Like there's no one questioning him. He's not taking time off on purpose. But it just seems that if you plot this team in the playoffs and Mike Conley goes out or something happens there, it's going to be a huge, huge blow in many different ways. Do your spidey senses tell you that this is becoming more of a concern because not just of these 2 games missed, but the possible start of a cycle where he is going to miss time?
My spidey senses say no, nothing to worry about. That until this week, he's been incredibly durable. Mm-hmm. That, hey, like legitimately sick right now. All right. So, we'll wait and see if he can rebound and play tonight. There will be opportunities with some more back-to-backs. Look at the schedule. Like you can target certain games, February, March, where Chris Finch is going to have to say to Mike, hey, let's just rest you tonight. There's no reason for you to play tonight. Why I'm not worried? Because he's been so durable since, coming here a year ago. And like the playoff schedule, like the Wolves could open up on a Saturday, then game 2 could be on Wednesday. Then game 3 is on Saturday.
Yeah. Like
there's so much separation. You're not playing any back-to-backs. You're rarely playing even every other night, at least early in the playoffs.
You're traveling less, you're playing less. Yeah, totally.
So I'm not worried whatsoever. He keeps himself in phenomenal shape. I get it. There is a little bit of an injury history there, but over the last year, he has played so many minutes that I just wouldn't worry about that. I really wouldn't.
Let's do some rapid-fire scoops here, Doogie. What do you have in the last 60 seconds or so?
Last week, Jake Odorizzi, free agent starter, threw for some teams, including the Twins. So when thinking about, he would fit into their budget right now. Did he even pitch last year? Declan, do you have a sec to Google Jake Odorizzi?
He did not.
Yeah, so
he did not.
There's a reason why he had a showcase, right? He needed to show that he's still capable, but I'm told he looked pretty darn good. There were other teams there, but the Twins were one of the teams watching former Twin Jake Odorizzi. Miguel Sano to the LA Angels on a minor league contract. That was reported by ESPN, where I can advance it. The money, if he makes the big league team, $875,000. He has a June 1st opt-out. I had a nice conversation yesterday with new Twins reliever Josh Stommett. So he had this thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, TOS. He's actually doing great. He was on his way to go throw. Yeah, well, and there's a lot of pictures. If you Google it,
it's kind of a death sentence for pictures.
It's not a pretty picture. But Josh said he feels great. I actually put a little snippet on, shameless plug for my Twitter, DWolfson KSTP. I put about a 2-minute clip from my conversation with Josh on social media, and he lays out why his is a little different than your conventional TOS surgery. But he's really optimistic. I mean, it's a 1-year deal for under $1 million, so it's not like this big roll of the dice. But you look at his numbers with the Royals, 2019 to 2021.
It's good. He was good.
There's a pretty good picture there, right? I mean, the velo, 97, 98, 99, the curveball, low 80s. Like, there's the potential there. So anyway, I had a really, really enjoyable conversation with Josh Stommett yesterday. He is going to be a nice addition to that clubhouse from a media standpoint.
Yeah. And we will do just a little bit of hot stove cleanup here today on the Score North Twin Show, where we'll talk about some of the players still out there and see what the Twins can still do. But Doogie, great session today here.
You got it. And Aaron Sabato, 2020 Twins first-round draft pick, not in the 40-man. He has received a big league invite for spring training.
Okay. So, yeah, that's
huge news,
not,
I know.
Not going well for him since he was drafted.
No.
But Doogs, we'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Boys. You got it.
There he is.
Have a good one. See ya.
Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. Yeah, let us know in the comment section, or just flame us if you want to as well. Tannehill, and you save 35, 40 million, or Cousins, according to let's say you save 30 million. So I just want to hear what people say in the comment section. I'm just kind of curious.
And you got to draft a quarterback, right?
Well, I mean, you could fill in the rest of the blueprint however you want to.
I mean, if they went slappy and didn't address the quarterback position behind that person, I would have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think I would too. But the first step would be, okay, let's just stop paying crazy amounts of money to Kirk Cousins and
or you know what? Quarterback X. Let's just call him that.
I don't know why you're so afraid of his name.
Well, because it's so polarizing that people don't think straight.
So if you replace Kirk Cousins with quarterback X,
then
do you
highly paid quarterback? Highly paid
Great
quarterback
clickbait
because when you say Cousins, they're all like, "Oh my God, it's Kirk Cousins again." You're not talking about Kirk Cousins. It's like, no, this is a financial decision.
It is. It's a chessboard. So all right, that's your scoop session with Darren Doogie Wolfson here, Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd.